So for today's video, we're going to be making this little red panda. I have a couple of notes to make where I made a couple mistakes. So for the first one, when you get to joining the legs, I say that is row 9 when actually it's row 9 of the legs, or it's row 1 of the body. So I'll do the legs. I'll say that was row 9. And then when I finish the next row, I'll say that's row 2. You didn't skip any rows. It's just I forgot to label it as 1 instead of 9. So I'll put a little note right where I do that. And then I forgot that I was going to do the tail no-sew as well as the head and the arms. So there'll be a little spot where you see me doing this guy to join the tail instead of this. And I will be doing the fox later. I'm not sure if I'm making a video, but if you want to do the fox, down in the description, I'll put a link for the pattern for the pointy foxtail. And then if you want to do his ears like a fox, you'll just do a couple rows of your accent color and then continue in the orange. Is that all? I think I just have a little disclaimer and then we can get started. We're going to start with the arms. So you're going to make your loop or your magic circle or your chain 2, whichever you're familiar with. And we are going to put 6 single crochets into this loop. So grab your yarn, pull up, chain 1, and start your first single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For round 2, you're going to do 6 increases. So you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So for an increase, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, 3 and 4 for your next increase. In the next stitch, 5 and 6. Increase in the next stitch, 7 and 8. Increase in the next stitch, 9 and 10. And increase in your last stitch of the round, 11 and 12. I'm just going to put a stitch marker in there. For round 3, 4, and 5, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Flip your marker if you're using one. So round 4, 12 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For round 5, this will be our last round in this color. So when you get to the last stitch, don't pull it all the way through, and we'll change the color. So round 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So don't pull it all the way through. Keep the 2 loops on your hook. Now, I'm going to cut the brown now. You can cut it after or now. And then get our orange or whatever color you're using. And just put a couple of knots right there. I usually do about 3. Or however you normally do a color change. This one does leave a little step, but it's not too noticeable, so this is the one I use. And then pull your next color through those 2 loops and to finish off that last round of 5. And now we are going to do row 6 to row 12. Exactly like we did the last rows, just 12 straight single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys to do the next 7 to 12, and I will meet you back up when you're done row 12 to close the arm, stuff and close the arm with you. So to finish off the arm, you're just going to grab your stuffing. You don't need too much in there, but make sure that they're both stuffed fairly evenly. You don't want one really stuffed and one hardly any stuffing in it at all. Alright, once you get it stuffing, you fold it in half, and you're going to put 5 single crochets across, going through both the front and the back. And make sure you get in both sides of the stitch. So you'll go in here, and then do your single crochet. If you need to, pull it tight there before you finish your crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, can you see that? 4, and your last one, make sure you get through all 4 stitches of those V's. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Finish your crochet off, and then you can tie that off. Just pull through. I normally do 2, but because I'm going to be tying these up in through the body after they're sewed on. where's my scissors? So just leave a little bit of a tail. And then we will move on to the next part. Okay, for the tail, for this one, I did 6 rows of orange, a row of brown, and then I switched to 4 rows of orange, a row of brown, and just repeated until I got to about 20 rows. For this tutorial, I'm going to do more like this guy. I'm going to do orange and then brown, but I'm going to do 3 rows of orange and 2 rows of brown and then repeat that. However you want to do it, you need about 20 rows total. Okay, so let's start our 4 rows of orange. So make your slip knot or your loop or your chain or your magic ring, however you prefer to get started. And you're going to put 6 single crochets into this loop. So grab your yarn, pull through, chain 1, and start your single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab your stitch marker if you're planning on using one. And now you're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch for a total of 12. So 1 and 2. 3 and 4. 5 and 6. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. And 11 and 12. Now for row 3, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the second stitch for a total of 18. So 1, and then 2 and 3 in the next stitch. And then 4 in the next stitch. 5 and 6 in the next stitch. 7 in the next stitch, 8 and 9 in the next stitch, 10 in the next stitch, 11 and 12 in the next stitch, 13 in the next stitch, 14 and 15 in the next stitch, 16 in the next stitch, and 17 and 18 in your last stitch of the round here. I'm going to change colors. Oops, if you're changing color here, don't finish that last stitch. Sorry, I gotta wiggle around my lamp and my camera. I have no idea where I put the end of my brown. There we go. Okay. Oh no, I dropped my orange. And I don't know where that is either. Shoot. dropped it like I was done with it. So this is going to be a bit of a long video, but I hope that you guys enjoy it. Okay, so with the brown, I'm going to do 2 rows of brown, 18 single crochets in each row. So finish that stitch, and then do your however many rows you want to do. Or if you're still doing orange, it's just 18 single crochets all the way to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whoopsie, hit my lamp, 16, 17, and 18. And I'm going to do a second row of brown, so 18 more all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. I'm not going to finish that stitch. Did you guys catch what I did here with the orange? I did not need to cut it. So, oops, this time I'm going to tie it on, not cut the brown, and just let the brown kind of hang out until you need it in the next row, and then pick it up again. You don't need to go around and hide it underneath. I can't even remember what that's called. Is it follow through? It's funny how you can't remember that stuff when you want it. Carry. You don't need to carry it. Just let it hang back here until you need to pick it up again. Alright, finish that stitch. And then just do your 18 single crochets. I'm going to be doing 3 rows, and then I'll switch back to my brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, so I'm gonna continue this off camera. You guys just keep going till you got about 20 rows, and then I will meet you back here to close it off and stuff it at around row 20, wherever you decide to end your stripes. Well, how'd you guys do? I ended up doing 2 extra rows, so I have 22 rows because I didn't want to end on brown and then attach it. I wanted to have a couple of rows of the same color, I'd be attaching it to the back of the body. Okay, so for the, get your stuffing. Whoopsie. I haven't decided if it's better stuffed firm or stuffed lightly. So far, I'm stuffing it kind of firm, but still a bit squishy. So if you want to kind of move the tail around a bit, like from one side to the other, like if you're photographing it or something, you kind of get a little bit of wiggle room. And it's not just like, okay. So you're just gonna fold it in half and line up your stitches. And you should get, what did I, 18, 9, I can't remember. I should really go look. Just, so one, make sure you go through both. Oops, did I go through both? I can't tell. Make sure you go through the front 2 loops, front and the back, I guess, of the V of that stitch, and both the loops, or the V of the stitch in the back. Give that a bit of a tug. And then just single crochet across, exactly like you just did. 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, and 8. And then just leave yourself a bit of a tail. We're going to sew this on as we go up the body, but leave yourself a bit of a tail just so you can kind of hide it. I guess you could hide it in this now too, but I left my tail. Okay, and then on to the next part. Okay, for the legs, I'm going to start them off just like the arms. Make your loop. And we're going to put 6 single crochets into this loop. Oops. Okay. So pull your yarn through, chain 1, and single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoopies, 6. I might pull that a bit. Grab your stitch marker if you're using one. And now we're going to increase 6 times for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Then 3 and 4. 5 and 6. 7 and 8. 9 and 10. And 11 and 12 in that last stitch. For round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, and then in the next stitch we're going to increase 2 and 3, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around. 4, increase 5 and 6, 7, 8 and 9, 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14 and 15, 16, and 17 and 18 in the last stitch. For round 4, we're just going to do 18 single crochets all the way around in one in every stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 in the last stitch. And then for round 5, same thing, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 in the last stitch. Same thing, round 6, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 in the last stitch. Oops, don't do what I just did. Leave your last stitch, don't go all the way through, and leave it these 2 loops, and we'll do our color change. Oops, I gotta weave myself around all this stuff in front of me. Okay, so tie your new color on. Go through those last 2 loops to finish that round, and then we will start on row 7 with 18 single crochets all the way around, just like before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 in that last stitch. Flip your stitch marker, and for round 8, same thing, 18 stitches all the way around, or single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 in that last stitch. So this one you're gonna slip stitch and tie off. When you do your second one, leave it just like this, and then I will meet you back to start joining the legs. Okay, you should have both your legs done. And now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Take your other leg. You can join anywhere you want, but I try and put where the step for the color changes, kind of in where they're going to squish together. So just in front of that, and where I tied off. You're going to do 18 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Let's get around that little string. All right, now you're going to connect them together. Make sure your chain isn't twisted. So you should be, let's see. Should be on the back side of your chain. So you're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch of those chains. Now if you find you have a hole here when you're getting up through the body, that's what you'll use this extra piece from your first leg. You can kind of go in there and stitch it up closed. Okay, so let's get in these chains. So that's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and 3 single crochets. and then you're going to hop over into your leg. So there's a stitch there already right here in that one. So you're going to go over to the next one and start your 18 single crochets all the way around this leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And then you've got to find those, the front of those 3 chains that you made. So this will be your first one right here. If you can see, there's your V. So we go just behind that. So 1, and then into the next one, 2, and then into the next one, 3. And that'll end row 9. I'm just going to bring my stitch marker up here. So you should have 42 stitches. If you don't worry too much about it, because you might have just gone into the wrong stitch. And as long as you don't have a bunch of holes here, we'll just fix that in the next row, because the next row we want 42 stitches all the way around. And if you have 41 or 43, just do an increase or a decrease on the last stitch to fix that. So to start this next row, here's your last single crochet, and here's the next single crochet of the next round, or the last round that you started. So you want to go just behind that, catching the 2 loops of the V above it. And I put my stitch marker in there so I know when I get around. So now we want 42 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So where I want to be? I might have come back and sew that later. And I just lost count. So I'll just keep going around. I gotta recount mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, oops, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. Yay, we did it. Now if you do have a mismatched stitch, just fix it right here. Do an increase or a decrease. You shouldn't be off by more than one stitch, I wouldn't think. So that was round 2. So for round 3, we're going to do 6 single crochets and 1 increase. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 48. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase for 7 and 8. Because I don't want to do the math in my head, I'm just going to repeat that instead of counting the full 48. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase for 7 and 8. And then again repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and 8 increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. This should be about our last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8, and that should total 48 stitches. So I made a whoopsie. I got all the way to getting the little pieces on, and I realized I was going to make the tail no-sew as well. So I'm going to try and slip this in between what row? Row 3 and starting our row 4s to 9s. And then on row 10 we're going to do the tail. So for right now you're at row 3. You just finished doing your 6 single crochet and your 1 increase for 48. So now you're going to continue 48 single crochets all the way around till you hit row 9, and then I will come back on row 10 and we'll sew the tail on. Okay, you should have just finished your rows of 48 single crochet and be ready to start row 10. So for row 10, when you attach the tail, just kind of see where you want it, and for me it's 3 stitches back from where I'm stopping. So I'm going to take out 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then that's where I'm going to start attaching the tail. Do my 3 stitches, flip my stitch marker, and then continue the rest of the tail. Maybe keep in mind that this will be the bottom of your tail, where you, if you have your, I guess this is the wrong tail. So where these little steps are, you want that to be the bottom. Sorry, I didn't want to do a third panda tail, so I'm just doing my fox one. so get in that one stitch. First stitch of your tail and the next stitch in your rows, which will be right here. There's your last stitch. For some reason I can't see that with the orange. Anyway, okay, so, and make sure you go through both sides of your tail and both sides of the stitch of your body. So 1, 2, and 3, and then flip the stitch marker, or however you need to do it so you can remember that's where your stitches are going to end. And now I'm going to start counting to 48. So that's 1, 2. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the camera and do this at the same time, but it's really messing with me. 2, 3, 4, and then the last one in the tail and into the body. I think that was 5. And then just continue around, starting in the next stitch after where you attach the tail. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oops, how'd that guy get in there? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. And that brings us right up to our stitch marker. I think I cut so that now we'll go back to normal with the video, but I won't have a tail on mine and you guys will have a tail on yours. So next row, row 11, I will, hopefully if this worked out proper, see you there. So for row 11, we're going to do 6 single crochets and a decrease for a total of 42 stitches. And before I get started on this, usually I just do the regular decrease, but for some reason on this little one, it seems like you could really notice the bumps, and I've never really noticed that before, so I'm going to show you how to do the invisible decrease if you've never done that before. Okay, so let's start with our 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to do the invisible decrease, you're going to go in the front loops only, and you're not going to grab your yarn in between grabbing the front loop. So you'll go in the front loop, then go in the front loop of the next stitch. Now you'll grab your yarn and pull through both of those loops, and then you'll grab your yarn and go through the last 2 loops on your hook. And it looks kind of like just a regular V-stitch. Okay, let's do that again. Make sure you go over into the next stitch and not this, because sometimes it looks like this is your next stitch, but that's one of your decrease stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do your invisible decrease up through the front loop of the first stitch, front loop of the second stitch, grab your yarn and pull through those 2 loops, and grab your yarn and pull through the last 2 loops. Another 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do your invisible decrease. It's a little trickier and not as fast, but oops, see, I just about grabbed my yarn there. Go through the 2 front loops, pull through, and then pull through again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Do your decrease. Oops, I think the yarn split on me there. I don't know if it's just coincidence or what, but I seem to find the last 2 years, don't want to blame COVID, but it seems like ever since first there was no yarn, and then it was like when you got yarn, it always had knots tied in it in the middle, or I got one skein that had 6 ties in a 7-ounce skein of yarn. I've never seen that before until now. Anyways, it just seems cheaper, and I don't know if it's coincidence or not. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do your decrease. You can tell I'm not used to doing this invisible decrease. Shouldn't have took a break now. I'm going slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and your decrease. See there, it split again on me. Okay. For row, I brought my stitch marker up too, just in case I need that. For row 12 to 15, you're just going to do 42 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do that off camera, and I will come back to start row 16. Okay, for row 16, we are going to do 5 single crochets and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. Remember, into those front 2 loops. So that's, now repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. Yeah, babe. Okay, honey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. Yeah, I can't even get in there. Okay. So for row 17, we're going to do 4 single crochets and a decrease for a total of 30. Oh, I better hit that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. I tell my fingers just want to do a regular decrease. It's like it's programmed in your brain when you say decrease. 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease. And I'm seeing these. I can see where these are, I'm noticing. So maybe it didn't make any difference. See, there's one right there. One, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Come on, decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. Okay, for row 18, we're going to add the arms. Now I have a stitch count, but if for some reason you're not where I'm at, like if you're back here or you're back here, sometimes I find if you use a thicker thread it doesn't work out the same, which does make no sense at all. What am I looking for? Oh, my arms. So we've got 5, we're going to make 5 stitches into our arms. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here is 5. So if you want to make sure they're even, fold your piece, find your 2 sides, and then this stitch and this stitch will be stitch number 3 on your arm. So you'll go 2 stitches, or let's do this. You'll 1, so that's your 3rd, and then 1, 2. So that stitch right there is where you're going to want to start your first stitch of your arm. So just put a stitch marker in there. And I don't even know if I have another small piece. To the other side, let's try it. Up. So since you're going this way, you'll want to put your stitch marker on the back side, not the front, because it's going to do you no good up here because you're going to start your arm back here on this side. So there's your middle stitch, and then go 1, 2, and that's where you'll start your arm. I'm going to count my stitches out. I should be right, but if I'm not, I've got these markers to let me know where I want to start my arm. So I have 7 single crochets. So 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, and 7. So for me, that 7 stitches works out. So grab your arm. Now I'm going to have this be the back side, and when I'm finished, I like to put these strings on the, oh, I keep being out of camera. I like to put these strings towards his front. So once it's sewn on, I can thread this down and out through the body, and it kind of sucks it in. I don't know if that makes any sense, but when we get to the finishing up of this, it will. So make sure, whatever you do, make sure that the strings are pointed the same way on both arms. So if you're starting with the strings to where you want the front to be, the other arm should be the same way. So go through the first stitch of your arm. And then you're going to go through the next stitch in your body. So that string is in the way. So there's your last stitch. So you want to go into this stitch. And you're just going to single crochet through both the arm and the body. You may need to give that a pull to keep it nice and tight. So 1, 2, hang Make sure you're going in the right stitches. 3. I know this is fiddly, but it's way, way nicer than having to sew the arms on afterwards. 4. And your last one. 5. Hopefully you could see that okay. And then I have us doing 10 single crochets. So this is your last stitch here. So you want to go into this stitch beside it. Do 10 single crochets or up to your stitch marker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and there's my stitch marker where I want to put my second arm. Now here, remember, make sure your strings are both facing the same way. So mine are both facing where I want the front of this guy to be. Curl. Oops. Go through the arm. Boy, I wish I looked more professional doing this. Okay, and then go into that first stitch of the body. If you're listening, that's great. If you're watching, this is a mess. Okay. That's the right stitch, yes. So we'll do 5 stitches through the arm and the body. That's 1. Yeah, 2. 3. 4. And 5. And I mean, if you make a mistake and you can't really tell, just keep going and fix your stitch count in the next row. I mean, it's not a huge deal. Okay, and then I don't even know. I have 3 single crochets. So make sure you're going in the next stitch, not the stitch you just went in. One, 2, and 3. And that was, I don't even remember now what row that was. Boy. So that must have been row 18. For row 19, we are going to decrease down to 24. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease. And for this row, because he's tucked in to his neck, I'm just doing a regular decrease. So you guys choose which one you want to do. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16. Yep. 17, 18, 19, and 20 is a decrease. 21, 22, 23, and 24 is a decrease. Okay. So next we're going to start the head. I'm going to take a quick little break and I will come back and we will start round 1 of the head. Okay, for round 1 of the head, we are going to do 2 single crochets in every stitch around for a total of 48. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13 and 14, 15 and 16, 17 and 18, 19 and 20, 21 and 22, 23 and 24, 25 and 26, 27 and 28, 29 and 30, 31 and 32, 33 and 34, 35 and 36, 37 and 38, 39 and 40, 41 and 42, 43 and 44, 45 and 46, 47 and 48. All right, now for rows 2 to 8, we're just going to do 48 single crochets all the way around, and then I will meet you back here to start on row number 9. Okay, so for row 9, we are going to do 6 single crochets and a decrease for 42. Yeah. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a decrease for 7. And I'm going to do the invisible decrease. One, 2, 3. Oops. 4, 5, 6, and 7 is a decrease. decrease. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops. 7 is our decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is our decrease. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is our decrease. Do that? Nope. All this yarn is horrible. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for the decrease. Okay, for rows 10 to 13, you're just going to go all the way around for 42 single crochets. Okay, so for row 14, we're going to do 5 single crochets and a decrease for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6. 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease. 1, 2, 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 3, 4, 5, and decrease. Okay, for row 15, you're just going to single crochet all the way around in each stitch for a total of 36. So before we get going on row 16, we should probably stuff this guy a little bit before we get our hole too small up here at the head. So just grab your stuffing, start getting it down in his feet and body here, and about halfway up into his head. Make sure when you're stuffing him, you're not overstuffing him, so you see you're stuffing through the stitches, and you're kind of pushing him out to the sides a bit. Well, that's not a very big chunk. It's amazing how much stuffing actually goes into these guys. I'm having a hard time remembering to go on each side of this camera. So let's see, I didn't get very much down in its toes there. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of this off camera, and then I will come back and we'll do row 16. Okay, so for round 16, we're going to be doing 4 single crochets and a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease. That was for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a decrease. Come on. It's hard to tell if I'm getting in that all 4 strands of the yarn here. God, I hate this yarn. Is just the worst. Like, can you see if it'll focus on that? See how fuzzy that is? And that's just first use, first time out of the ball. Like looks like I've used it a whole bunch of times and unraveled. I haven't. Okay, so for row 17, you're just going to go all the way around for 30 single crochets in every single stitch, and then I will meet you back here for row 18. Okay, so for row 18, we're just going to do 3 single crochets and a decrease for a total of 24. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Come on. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Do you see that, or am I hiding it? Sorry about that. Not used to this angle. I'm basically holding this guy in the air against the corner of the table. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And a decrease. Come on in there. Come on. One, 2, 3, and a decrease. And again. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Oh, I think I got, nope. Okay, that was 18. So for row 19, and stuff as you go, depending how much, oh, sorry, how much of a hole you need to get your stuffing in. I'm gonna do at least one more round before I stop. So I might as well do that. Row 19, 2 single crochets and a decrease. Two single crochets and decrease. I feel like I should just be doing the regular decrease by the time these stitches are all stretched out up here. One, 2, and a decrease. 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 Okay, for rows 20 and 21, we're just going to continue decreasing. So it would be one for row 20, 1 single crochet and 1 decrease, and for 12 and for row 21, 6 decreases for a total of 6. But I'm going to leave my head open for now and close it later after I have some of the face details on, because I'm going to be using safety eyes, I think. Pretty sure. And I just like to have the option to be able to get my hands down in there. So finish stuffing it, and then we will move on to the next part. Okay, let's do the ears. So you're going to make your loop, or whichever way you prefer. And you are going to put 6 single crochets into this loop. So pull your yarn out and through and chain 1 and 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, where did I lose my stitch marker? I don't know. Well, I don't need one this long, but I guess I will. Okay. Then for row 2, you are going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase for a total of 9. So 1 and 2 and 3 for an increase. And then 4. And 5 and 6 for an increase. And then 7. And 8 and 9 in the last stitch for an increase. For round 3, you're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets for an increase, which will be 3 and 4. And then we just repeat that all the way around. So 5, 6, and 7 and 8, 1 or 9, 10, and 11 and 12 in the last stitch. For row 4, you're going to do 3 single crochets and an increase for a total of 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, then an increase, 4 and 5. And 6, 7, 8, and your increase for 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, and your increase of 14 and 15 in the last stitch. For row 5, you're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase. So what is that? 6s. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5 and 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11 and 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 and 18 in that last stitch. Oh, my back is hurting here. Now you're going to do 3 rows of 18 single crochets. So row 6, 7, and 8. And then tie off, and you'll have your one full ear finished. Okay, now we're going to do the cheeks. So we're going to make our loop. Whoop. We're going to be chaining, so you don't want to be making the magic ring on this one. So do your slip knot or your knot like I do. And we are going to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to be going down this side, a couple into this end chain, and then we're going to be going up the other side. So you're going to do into the second chain from the hook, so not this one, but this one. You're going to do 2 slip stitches. And you're going to do 2 single crochet. And you're going to do 3 half double crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3. Now you're at this last chain here at the end. You're going to do 4 double crochets into this last chain. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and you're going to kind of want to work them around. So these 2 are on this side, and you'll kind of turn your work and do your other 2 on the other side in the same stitch. So that's 3 double crochets and a 4th double crochet. Now you're just going to do what you did on the other side in reverse. You're going to do 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. And then you're going to do 2 slip stitches. 1 and 2. And I am going to put my stitch marker in here just so I know when I get back around where I'm at. Okay, for round well, I'm calling this round 3. Chain 9 was round 1. We just did round 2, and then round 3, we're going to do 4 single crochets down along here. Not sure how this one. So that's your 9th chain there. So this should be your first slip stitch right. Hold on. A half, a half, a half, a single, single. Okay, no, it's right here. Well, let's go in there. It's not going to make much difference once we get around. Okay, so we're going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, they're a little tight to get in there. 2, now we should be going into the single crochets. 3, 4. We'll do 4 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do 2 half double crochet increases. So we'll do 2 half double crochets in this stitch and 2 half double crochets in this stitch. So 1 and 2 half double crochets. And then in the next stitch, we'll do another increase. So 1 half double crochet and 2 half double crochets. And then we'll just continue now going in reverse order all the way around. So we'll do 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, whoops, and 4, and then we'll do 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and try and get into this slip stitch you made there for another single crochet. Come on. If you do have a hard time, whoops, I didn't get there. If you do have a hard time getting in there, try putting your darning needle in there and pull it through, and it should give you a little bit of a hole. And then I'm back to my stitch marker, and we're just going to slip stitch into there and then tie off and leave enough of a tail to sew that on. I usually just wrap my hand around 2 or 3 times, and I usually have way more than I need, and then just cut that off. Okay, for the nose, we are going to go in the round this time, so do your loop or your chain 2. This is probably the best place if you do a magic circle to do a magic circle, because you don't want to have a huge hole right in his middle of his nose facing you. It's probably going to be covered up depending on how you do the nose. I've been doing so many pieces to this guy's face, girl's face. I probably made 10 noses and tons of, the cheeks weren't too bad. A couple of times I did the cheeks. But I've actually sat and looked at this guy for weeks, moving his facial features around and giving him different facial features. Okay, so we're going to put 5 single crochets. So pull up a loop and do your chain 1, and then do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna grab my stitch marker. You all know I get talking and forget my stitches. And we are gonna put 5 increases, so we'll have 2 stitches in every stitch around for a total of 10. And this will be round 2. All right, so 1 and 2. 3 and 4. 5 and 6. 7 and 8. And 9 and 10 in the last stitch. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase for a total of 15. So 1 and an increase for 2 and 3. And then 4. An increase for 5 and 6. And 7. Increase for 8 and 9. 10. 11 and 12 are increase. 13. And in the last stitch, 14 and 15. Okay, that was round 3, and so round 4 and 5, we're just going to do single crochet all the way around, so for a total of 2 rows for a total of 15 for each row. So I might as well do that with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops, man. Yep. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then do that one more time. 15 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then you'll just slip stitch in the next stitch and tie that off, leaving enough of a tail to stitch that on. Okay. Okay, so for the nose, you can just embroider across a couple of times if you want. I haven't decided if I like this nose yet, but I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to just make a ring, and I'm going to put 6 single crochets into the loop I've made. So try and make it on the smaller side if you can. Again, you can do your magic ring if you want. Okay, so pull up and through, chain 1, and do your 6. It might almost also be worth like going down to hook size. The reason I'm not sure about this nose is it's a little on the big side for me. So that's 2, 3. So I'm actually still playing with this as I'm going. 4, 5, and 6. And then just slip stitch into your first single crochet. This nose here I did 8, that's why I'm doing 6 now. I'm hoping that maybe it's a little, whoops, slip stitch. I think I want 6 instead of 8, so I just changed that right now. And then just tie off, and you'll need a little bit of a tail for that for sewing on as well. Oh, and I lucked out. I was going to leave a little bit of a tail here to sew through the other side, so you can tie it afterwards, and I have maybe just enough. So I'm going to make this the bottom. So I'm going to put my nose up here, just kind of just above here, kind of just covering it, just enough that you can get this strip down here out that hole, but you won't see it maybe when you're, okay, I'm going to get my darning needle. So we're going to put this piece through, just anywhere you want, as long as it's underneath the nose. And then thread your brown or whatever color you're using for the nose. And then just stitch that on. Try not to go through your, oh, maybe I'll set it a little higher. Where's my hole? There's my hole. I'm getting all out of line. Make sure you're lined up before you get going on your stitching. And make sure you go kind of underneath. Otherwise you're going to have lines all the way around his nose. And I'm just doing a quick job, or hopefully a quick job. You take your time when you do yours. I just, who knows, I might even redo this nose. I just have such a hard time with his face, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I keep seeing a fox when I look at him, and I want him to look like a certain panda. And it's just not coming through how I feel like. I will say though, I'm part of this, I got a couple groups of crochet that I follow on Facebook, and there's this one, it's called, so shout out to Amigurumi Addicts on Facebook. I posted in there if it was worth doing a video on. Hold on, I gotta pull this tight. And I got so much encouragement that I thought, you know what? Even if only a couple of people want to make it, I'm gonna do it. So thank you to those guys and their kind words and suggestions. Alright, I think I'm through there. This one stitch looks like it's a little high, so I'm just going to go through it one more time. Oops, and look what I did. Okay. what did I do? Oh, I don't know. Sewing this stuff together is such a pain. Also, I was going to sew all this stuff on in this tutorial, because all my other ones I have, but the tutorial ends up being almost an hour longer just sewing this stuff on. So I think what I might do is I'll show you where I pinned everything. I'll let you decide where you want to pin everything. And then, I might make a actual separate video on putting it together. Now, I think I just went through that hole. Yeah, I did. Should I come up through the bottom maybe? So I need to get this line straight. So I think if I put it through here, no, definitely not. Maybe right in there. I might be doing this again, we'll see. And then up in that hole you left where the nose ring was, and then just give it it's a little crooked, but we'll just fix that when we put it on. We will move this over a bit so it's not quite straight on the bottom. And I did mine twice. I felt like it kind of sucked it in a bit. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure I like that. Okay, so tie that off and then we will go to the next part. Okay, now to put our little guy's face together. Now when I say that I have made 1,000,000 of these faces, I'm almost not exaggerating. I've had his eyes up here, down here, far apart, close together. I've had his nose all over the place. I've had his cheeks sideways, upside down. So I'm just going to give you a guide up to where I ended up with mine. So feel free to put yours where you feel you like it the best. Keep in mind his top's not closed yet, and maybe don't put the backs on the eyes till you're happy with it. Hopefully you don't have the same problem I had. So for the eyes, where's my little, you're going to count up from where you did, is it your first row? I think it's your first row. It's where you did your increases from 24 to 48. So row 1 of the head, you'll see here where you have all your increases. So that's row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 and 10 is right where I have the eyes at the moment. So if you want to just place your eyes, if you're doing safety eyes, or just mark it for now if you're going to be sewing eyes on. Oops, my battery's almost dead here. Let's see if I can, we'll see if that, I can't tell, it didn't beep, but I think it's plugged in. Okay, sorry. So for the nose, you put a little bit of stuffing in your nose. Not a lot, because we ended up making it pretty small. I think that's about all I can fit in there. Kind of line them up just under your eyes. And I'm going to have mine, so the bottom will be on the 3rd row. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pin the bottom right there. Make sure your little line here is in the center. Where's my pins? just pin him there, and then get his little nose twisted to where you want the center up the top. Put your pin in. And then for the sides, I kind of push this so it's straight and curved on the top. So kind of a bit like a triangle. You may have to move this a bit as you get looking at it. I'm kind of doing it from the behind, kind of on an angle, whereas I got the camera right on top, so you guys should get a good, can't really tell how centered it is. Okay, now that I got the nose there, let me show you the different style of eyes here. So these ones, I believe, are 20 millimeter, and they are actually these with the clear around, and then I just paint the back whatever color I want the back to be, just as nail polish, and then I let it cure for, I don't know, at least a day or two. Usually I put 2 coats, but I only have 1 coat on this one. Okay, so let's take that out. Now this is kind of a mess, but I took some, I think they're 12 millimeter eyes, and I painted them white and then put little black dots in the center. I know they're not perfect. I wouldn't use these ones on a finished product, but I just wanted to see what they'd look like. I mean, he looks a little nutty that way. But I do like the fact that there's more white and less black for these ones. And then we have just a straight black. It's hard to tell when he doesn't have the rest of his face on. These are also 12 millimeter. And then I made these, I think this is an 8 millimeter eye. And then I just did, just like we did the nose, only I did 8 single crochets into the round. And I kind of like these ones, but I don't feel like sewing them on. Although maybe I will now that I look at them again. All right, I'll put my big ones back in there. All right, so assuming you have this closed up and your eye is figured out where you want them, or you can just temporarily put the ears on. If this was closed, I would put it 1 stitch from the center. Sorry, maybe I should have closed this up. I'm just not sure where I want the eyes yet, until I have everything on. So I'll pin that ear there for now. And make sure when you're doing your ears before you sew them on that they're lined up kind of straight, even with the arms here. So I'll pin the other ear on. Okay, I need my camera to be just a little higher, I think. Okay. Now for the cheeks, originally I had the point up here and the round part down here. I've since decided I like the round part up here and the point at the bottom. So just about where the top of your eyes are, and about 2 stitches on this side of the eye. I'll pin that on. Did I grab it? Where is it? I'm going to poke myself. And then I bring this point kind of in front of the arms a bit and pin that. And then do the other side. So make sure they're even. So this is where you have the top of him on this side. So make sure you go right across, and that's where you want the top. Then about 2 stitches from the eye, 1 and 2, and then put your pin in. And when you go to sew these in, you'll add more pins in than what we've got here. But this is just to kind of see if you like where it is, and then pull that point kind of in front of the arm again. I should have been pinning them the same, but I'm okay. See, that one's not quite the same as that one. I should have pinned from this way. And then, if you're happy with that, do I have a little bit of white somewhere? Probably somewhere. There's some. It's attached to something, I think. What's it attached to? Okay. And then you're just going to take your darning needle and give him some eyebrows. Also something I'm not 100% sure what I wanted to do. So I'm going to just go right behind this eye, kind of a touch of an angle. And I'm just going to go around about 4 times. Oh, that is a long piece. Oh, it's got a thing in it too. Where? I guess that's okay. Make them a little longer if you want, a little slanted. I tried doing kind of like a V on an angle, but it just made them look angry. So I'm gonna go with the straight across, little poofy eyebrow. So that's 3. This will be 4. So we're so lined up kind of on an angle. I think we'll be starting the other one over here about. So get your, whoops, I hope you saw that. I just see my guy's falling off the table here. Yes, that looks okay. And if you mark where your other one came up, just inside the eye here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 stitches apart, I think. Oh, I just poked myself. I guess I could have got a little shorter piece of yarn than I have. I think I might have to make that 1 stitch longer. We'll see. It might puff out. Yeah, I'll have to fix that after. Maybe I can fix it now. I better not. Anyway, you get what I'm going for here. Just make sure yours are even and the same width. Actually, they're not too bad. Maybe we'll go one more time and then we'll see. Okay. And then you'll just take both of your ends and put them somewhere in between. I'm cutting this. Oh, what was the point of that when I'm going to cut it in a second anyway? Okay. Well, nobody's perfect, right? Alright, so we'll put that in, thread that guy in, and bring him over. And then just give that a tie. And then we'll thread him out the back somewhere. Oop, I gotta put him in first. And then thread him out the back. Give him a bit of a tug to make sure his knot's not showing. And we'll cut that. And there. So remember, once you got these all placed where you want them, oh, I can't catch that. Remember, for sewing your head together, oh, it's way over there. You're gonna do, you need to have 12 and then 6, so you're gonna do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease for the second last row, and for the last row you're going to do 6 decreases, and then tie it off and pull it tight and thread that thread down through the center of your head. I need to show you how to do the arms here. I got these all wrapped up pretty good. Do I ever? So I guess I should say, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe. You can leave me a comment. If you want to share your finished piece with me, I'll have a link in the description for my craft page on Facebook, and there is a post pinned to the top of that page, and it says YouTube share or something like that. I'd love to see how your guys' faces ended up, if they're the same. I think the reason I'm having such a problem with this guy is because I can't wrap my head around him being a panda when he looked a lot more like a fox. And so I keep thinking, how can I make him look like a red panda when he's looks like this? Except for the ears. I mean, he's pretty much how I would make a fox, which I might make, as you've seen for the tail tutorial. I might turn that into one too. Or you could just use this exact pattern in the fox colors, and when you do his ears, do the first couple rows in like black or brown, and then go to your body color. Where did that end up? Oh, what was happening here? Oh, I see. All Alright, so these are the 2 arm strings. So once you get them back through the back, just give them a tug and see, it'll kind of tighten those. I got so many strings here. When you knot it, it kind of tightens those arms in and brings them in a bit. So, well, instead of it looking like this, the front, they look like they're nice and neat. And then you'll just tie this a couple of times and thread your ends out through its body somewhere. I don't know if I'm forgetting something. Yikes, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have my tail on. I'm gonna have to sew that on now later. I don't think I'm going to make a sewing on video. I have quite a few where I spend over an hour sewing parts on. All the 3-in-1 Chinese New Year ones I have so far, I've done that. So I'm also, maybe we'll put a link in the description and a timestamp. So like, who could I grab? I guess I started with the goat. So for with the goat one, I did the body and the head, and then I did all of the parts. So on the first timestamp will be when I put the eyes and sew about half of the muzzle in, but it is very detailed. And then I think I should go to the arms, which you won't need for this video. And then I do the legs, which is the same as this. And then I think the ears and horns and stuff. So I will put that timestamp in as well. And then if you need help sewing on the mouth and these and the ears, it'll be exactly the same way. I have had some people say it was a really informative tutorial. So you can always ask me to in the comments. Right now I'm just a tiny little channel. I'm only 3 months in, so I mean, I might get one comment every couple of days, so I can easily answer you. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I guess be safe and happy crocheting. So I'm just going to pop this in here at the end, just so you can see where everything is placed after I finish sewing it on. So we got the cheeks kind of starting lined up with the top of the eyes and angled a little bit over to in front of the arm. And then for the ears, I started them. Here's your 6 single crochet decrease row. So I started just on the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 stitches down. I stretched them out a little bit. And even with the arms. I will be making the fox video. I don't know if I'll video making it because it's so similar to this one. And then I'll just be changing the ear colors. And I just don't know how long that will take. Probably a couple of weeks, depending on how my schedule is working out. Because it does take, once it's all done, it does take about 3 days. It takes about a day to get it loaded into the editor so I can splice everything together. And then it takes another day to save it to the computer in the right format. And then it takes another day to, takes about 14 hours to load it onto YouTube. So if I get up early enough, it'll be 3 days. Don't forget to subscribe, and then when I post that video, it should show up in your newsfeed. There will be lots of links down at the bottom until then, well, and after. So if you're coming here at the beginning, it might not be there, but eventually I'll have it all sorted and fixed up for you guys. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can always share your pictures with me on my craft page, also down in the description on Facebook. And everybody be safe and happy crocheting.